Hey, hi, and hello everyone. This video will be about my drawing process, not necessarily a tutorial, but more so a walkthrough of how I go about drawing and my methods and thought process. I'll be going through my sketch phase to line art, coloring, shading, and finishing touches. Timestamps will be in the descriptions if you're looking for specific sections. The device I will be using for my drawings is my touchscreen laptop and with the stylus pen that I came with it. For my programs, I use Clip Studio Paint. And the brushes that I use is from a brush pack called Pixel Doodlers. I got this from the Clip Studio Asset Store for free. I also have this linked in the description if you're interested. These are the brushes that I use the most often. And for this drawing, I'll be mainly using the speed control brush. If you don't have Clip Studio Paint, then you could just use any brush, but turn off the anti-aliasing. So this would create kind of a pixely effect to your brush. My canvas size is 3x4 or 1536 pixels by 2048 pixels. And finally, for today's subject, I will be drawing my OC Reagan. So this is my first sketch. I'm more focusing on the vibe of the pose and just getting everything down, like the idea down, before I start making anything accurate. So it's just drawing the lines, drawing the proportions and stuff, and I'll fix it on my second sketch. On the second sketch, I'll clean up a little bit and fix any anatomy mistakes, and I'll also be sketching on the little details that will be in the final drawing. And if I'm just feeling lazy or if the second sketch looks nice enough, I'll just keep that as my line art layer. I'll just clean up a little bit of the stray strokes and make it a little bit neater, and it's good enough as a line art layer. Sometimes my art is messy like that, and I don't really care, it looks fine. But for this video, I'm going to clean it up later. My brush size is usually set around 6 to 10 pixels on a canvas that's 1500 pixels or larger. I don't have any specific rules when it comes to line art. I usually keep it simple and not super detailed. I would draw fold lines to indicate structure and thicken the line art for areas with a lot of lines that are intersecting. So if there's a section that I just can't get it right, like the hands, the fingers, or whatever, I'll just leave it and I'll line the other parts and come back to it later. Most of my line art are drawn on one layer, except for little details like small and thin objects. Stuff like glasses or jewelry, I just draw them directly and sometimes color it in the line art stage, and I'll recolor it during coloring stage, since they're very small details and they would look too busy if I lined them with the thick liner that I have.
Okay, so coloring is my least favorite stage. I would use the bucket tool for most of my coloring, and if the liner is too messy or have large gaps, I would use the lasso paint tool. So firstly, I color in the base colors. I pulled out my reference sheet to pick the colors, but I'll be honest, I don't really do that often. I only do this if it's a serious drawing, which I don't really do often. So sometimes I just eye the colors. I'm not very strict with my drawing process. I would separate the hair in skin color layers to make it easier for the shading process. Because the hair usually overlaps the face, it just makes it easier for me to manage the shading in my opinion. The rest of the coloring go on one layer. Moving on to the shading stage. Shading is my favorite part of drawing. But before we start with the actual shading, let me show you how I pick the shadow colors that gives my art that vibrant look. First, you color pick the area that you want to color, and you go onto the color wheel. From inside the square, move your color downwards and move to the right, like an L shape. And on the wheel, move the color a little bit to the left if it's a cool tone color, or a little bit to the right if it's a warm tone color. Or in technical terms, you would lower the value and increase the saturation, and then hue shift. I don't really know how to explain this, but I think the best way to know what colors you want is to experiment and play around with the colors and to see what looks better. I also made a little chart if my rambling is too confusing. So here it is. I learned this method somewhere on Instagram a few years ago, but I don't remember who did that tutorial, but I believe they call it the L method, but that's also what I call it. For darker colors like dark brown or even black, I would make the shading color more saturated and a lot darker so it looks more visible on the art. This is why I don't use blend modes like multiply layer for my shading anymore, since I get to control what I want for my shading color and it makes for more vibrant artwork. I still use blend modes sometimes, but that's only when I'm shading over a more complicated pattern with lots of colors such as dyed hair or patterned clothes, or if I'm just feeling lazy, you know. Sometimes I would put more colors in the shading to give it a more dynamic look. I would choose a middle color between the base and the shadow color and draw between them. An easy way to pick the middle color is to blend the two colors together and pick in the middle. The rounder or smoother the edge is, the more of the middle color that you put in. This is how shadow works in real life. They fade smoothly on a smooth surface and are sharper on harder edges. After the shading is done, I go in and color the line art with a darker color. This is an extra step I do for my line art sometimes. I only do the coloring on overlapping line art, such as the sleeves that go over the body and fold lines within the fabric. I usually don't color the outer part of the lines when it comes to line art coloring, but I do set myself some specific rules. It's a little bit hard to explain, so I hope this graph can help you a bit. Same as shading, lighting is also my favorite part. I used the same color method from the shading stage, out method, but this time I moved the opposite way. I would move the color to the right and move up, or decrease the saturation, and then increase the value and do a little hue shift. Sometimes I would only do lighting on the hair and shiny objects only, such as metallic objects or shiny plasticky objects that would have a sharp shine to it, since I don't put a lot of lighting detail. It's mostly carried by the shading. For hair lighting, sometimes I would choose a completely unrelated color to the hair. Since hair is important to a character's design, I would want to make it a little bit more special or stand out more. So I would use the character's signature color or an accent color. For example, as you can see on my persona, he has dark blue hair, but I don't use light blue for the lighting. I use a warm yellow instead, since it's an accent color from his design. So I use that warm yellow color for his hair lighting, and it looks a lot more fun rather than just like a color that you would typically see on a black or dark blue hair character. And here's the final product. If this video helped you, cool. If not, I'll make a better video next time. Sorry if you were expecting a video about a different art style. This one is my safe art style. I tend to experiment and draw differently each time, so I don't really have a definitive art style. And that's fine. Why be restricted to one art style when you got a whole world worth of possibilities out there? Anyways, if anyone wants a more in-depth tutorial on a specific part, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Remember to stay hydrated and stay safe. Have a great day.